How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Dubai reprimands 3 Arrow Capital founders over their new exchange. Kyle Davis and Su Zhu, the founders of 3AC, were among 5 people issued a written reprimand by Dubai's VARA in relation to the recently launched OPNX. The site went live last month and has been offering virtual asset exchange services without having any licenses. OPNX offers futures and spots trading and will also launch a service allowing investors to trade bankruptcy claims for platforms like FTX or Celsius. Officials did send a cease and desist to the Open Exchange, but they did not comply, and they do not have the proper licensing, so Dubai and the rest of the UAE has put restrictions on them, and they have sent a second cease and desist in March, which got ignored, and then they launched April 4th, which prompted them to issue an investor marketplace alert on the exchange. So the exchange was told 2 months prior, each month, that hey, you aren't complying, and they just went ahead and launched and said, hey, we're open to the public, so kind of what I warned you against. Following the launch, with the continued lack of satisfactory remedial action by the responsible parties, the VARA is continuing to actively monitor the situation and investigate their activity for future corrective measures that may be required to protect the market. So there may be an outside force that shuts this exchange down if they do not get in compliance. This one's a quick one. SEC hits crypto exchange Coinme with $4 million in fines for alleged securities fraud. The US SEC is settling securities fraud allegations levied against the Seattle-based company Coinme Inc. for $4 million in penalties. The US regulator is accusing them of their up global for running basically an ICO that took in money and just had no value. The SEC accuses them of false and misleading statements regarding the demand for the UP token and the amount raised in the ICO. So mainly they made a security there's really nothing that this token's really valuing, and if it does, then they're going to have to argue that against in the SEC, which is going to be a long and brutal case. Coinbase launches the international exchange with Bitcoin and Ethereum perpetual futures. Perpetual futures are different than normal futures because they allow you to hold your position rather than having a contract that has an expiration. The largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States announced that they have an Coinbase International Exchange. The new venture allows the regulatory approval from the Bermuda Monetary Authority, and the new exchange will initially offer Bitcoin and Ethereum perpetual futures, so they are probably going to expand to other coins. The Coinbase International Exchange is another step on our plans to scale globally. So right there they're saying, hey, we're not trying to leave the US. Coinbase said it is committed to the US, but observed that countries worldwide are increasingly moving forward with responsible crypto-forward regulatory frameworks. I think that meant to say crypto-friendly, as they attempt to position themselves as crypto hubs. We would like to see the US take a similar approach instead of regulation by enforcement, which has led to a disappointing trend for crypto development in the US. Coinbase said trades on the Coinbase International Exchange will be settled in USDC, so if you don't like USDC, you might not want to use that platform, or you might want to see if you can switch to USD or some other USDT or some other stablecoin that you prefer. So onto the charts. Bitcoin dominance is kind of flat. We got 0.5% raise, nothing too exciting for the day. We got a bit of a pump, nothing too great. Our RSI is trying to point up, stochastic's trying to curl, momentum's still coming down. We don't really have a curl yet. Money flow is coming up though, so that is good for us, but our VWAP is still continuing to head down, so our medium term is still coming out, even though other things are looking a little more bullish for us. Over on our total, which is altcoins, everything but Ethereum and Bitcoin, our RSI is trying to head up, but we're in this zone that we cannot just get away from. Stochastic's trying to head up with a bullish cross, so if that can bring us up, that'll help this RSI get out of this range. Our money flow is heading up pretty sharply right now, so if that can continue, that will be good for us as we are above that neutral zone and bounced off of it. The VWAP is coming down, somewhat starting to curl off on in this neutral zone, so if it can push forward and keep curling, that will be good for us. Our momentum is coming down with that red dot that did confirm, so if we don't get some sort of curl and a green dot, then it's likely we'll see some downside and these other signals could flop over. So over on Bitcoin, we did try to break above this golden pocket. We failed to do so, but we did get above this support level, or resistance level here. So it is now currently our support, so that is good for us. We did make a bounce off our point of control here, so we could go toward the value area high here. Excuse me. So usually when you make a bounce and you solidify that bounce, you'll go to your next range. But if we do start to waver away because of the top of the golden pocket and this support level, then we could come through this point control and head toward the value area low. RSI is trying to head up, but overall coming out. Stochastic looks like it wants to get a bullish cross soon, so we'll have to see if that can happen in the next couple days. Our money flow is heading up. Our momentum is trying to curl upwards, and our VWAP is trying to curl up as well. But the VWAP is in the bearish territory right now. The momentum's kind of hard to determine where it's at. So if we go to the 4 hour, we did get a little bit of a rounded bottom here that pushed us up. So if we do fall down and then push up from there, we could make a little mini cup and handle that could get us right around this point we were struggling to be at, which is kind of why I suggested on the futures if you were able to make it out. But I'll kind of explain that again when we get to the futures. Our RSI is starting to curl, Stochastic's starting to run up, money flow overall is starting to taper outward, and our VWAP is somewhat going flat. So our VWAP did get a good run up, but it's starting to lose its strength. Momentum is pushing forward, but it looks like it could start to curl out, so I'd be a little leery of the 4 hour, but we do have that possibility to make that cup and handle. Stochastic is starting to fall on the 2 hour. It looks like it wants to make a bearish cross, so that could happen in the next few candles. RSI is starting to taper off and start to curl, so that's not looking too good for us. Our momentum is starting to taper off and curl, so that's not too good either. Our VWAP is heading down pretty sharply, and our money flow is struggling to establish any sort of trend. So the 2 hours not too strong here. The 1 hour we did have a bearish trend most of the day, did break bullishly, and now we're struggling to establish where we're going to be. So some pretty much indecision going on. That's bound to happen since this is our manipulation zone. If you're not familiar with that, see the Fibonacci retracement video. But our momentum is curling down, RSI is curling down, Stochastic's coming down, money flow is struggling to establish a trend on the 1 hour here as well, and our VWAP is struggling to have any sort of movement one way or the other, but it's slightly bearish right now. So over on the Bitcoin dominance, we did form a new gap after filling that last gap, so Bitcoin loves to do this, create a gap after filling a gap, at least lately. So what I think would happen is we could make a move up to this zone, and then we could fall away from it and fill this gap, at which point we could potentially create another gap. Or if we don't create another gap there, then we could possibly finally fill this lower gap around the 20k level, way down here from a little ways back, about March. So we could fill that March gap finally if we do come up and then come back down and don't get another gap fill, or we just come down, fill this gap, and keep heading down. So over on graph, on the daily, we are still kind of falling away from this channel, but we are trying to push forward. Stochastic's trying to get a bullish cross here. RSI is trying to point upwards, so those are trying to push forward. Our money flow is trying to curl upwards. VWAP's trying to curl up, and our momentum is trying to get a little bit of a move. Not too decisive. It was heading down, but it's looking like it could start to curl. Usually when this starts kind of shape like this, you'll start to see a curl, so we are kind of heading inwards. So we could get some sort of a curl soon on the daily. Over on the 4 hour, RSI looks like it wants to somewhat give up some strength, even though our stochastic is running up pretty strongly, so that's somewhat concerning here. Our momentum's trying to push forward. Our money flow overall is bearish. We have not been able to get a bullish trend on our money flow here. And our VWAP is trying to ramp up pretty strongly, but if everything else starts to fall away, then our VWAP is likely to follow. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic looks like it could get a bearish cross soon and start to fall away. RSI is trying to push forward. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory, but it's starting to lose its steam. Momentum is in the bullish territory, but could start to curl off if we're not careful. And our money flow is overall trying to push upwards, but it's not really pushing up with much strength. The 1 hour, the money flow has made this is going to be its second attempt today to cross bullishly, maybe third, so we have made several attempts to try to cross bullishly, and if we get rejected from this one, it could be a pretty brutal rejection downward. Momentum is starting to taper off and curl. VWAP overall is heading out and very close to that neutral zone. Our stochastic's just getting drug along, doesn't really have anywhere it can go up here, so it's likely to fall at some point. And our RSI is starting to curl, suggesting that stochastic and RSI are about to give up some strength here. So that would not be too positive, and if we formed like a tweezer top, then we could probably see some more downside. Over on the daily for Anchor, little baby pump here. Now this is a bit of a hammer candle, so that could help form a bottom, that could help push us forward. If we do make a bit of a cup here, that could be a pattern that could help push us forward, but we're going to see what happens. Our RSI is trying to head up, stochastic's trying to head up, trying to get a bullish cross. We'll have to see if that can happen. Our VWAP is overall falling, but not falling too strongly. Money flow is trying to push forwards, and our momentum did get a red dot, but we might try to curl up, so we're going to have to see if some momentum can come in. Over on the 4 hour, we do look a little bit more like a rounding bottom here, kind of like I was saying for the daily. Our stochastic is trying to run up, RSI is trying to run up, money flow is starting to reject away, so that I'd exercise caution on that as we weren't able to become bullish and then we started to reject away. VWAP is trying to head up, momentum's trying to head up, but that could start to curl off if this money flow continues its trend down. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic's getting pretty close to a bearish cross, just like the other few coins we've covered. VWAP is trying to head up, but could give up its gains. Momentum looks like it could start to curl here. Money flow isn't really very bearish, but it hasn't been able to maintain a bullish trend. So overall, we're not too bullish looking on the 2 hour, aside from the possibility of this rounding upward. Our money flow is trying to cross bullish on the 1 hour, so if we can maintain a bullish trend on the 1 hour, that would be positive for our other time frames. Stochastic's getting stretched out here, so we have nowhere to go, but it's really strong. RSI is trying to head up, but it's starting to kind of flatten out, so that's kind of concerning, and it's starting to round off. Our momentum is starting to taper off and curl, so if we get a red dot, that would be concerning. And our VWAP overall is losing its strength and very close to that neutral zone and could break. Over on XRP, we are losing a bit. Still kind of in this flag. RSI is heading down. Stochastic's trying to push forward though, so that could help give the RSI some curl up. Money flow is struggling to maintain above this neutral zone. VWAP's coming out, and our momentum has a red dot and is pushing down, so not too good here. Over on the 4 hour, momentum, our money flow rather, is about to break bearish, so that's not too good. Stochastic does have a bullish cross though. RSI is trying to push forward, so if this money flow can make a bounce here, that would be good for us and we could push forward, but it's not too strong right now. Our momentum is trying to come up, but if the money flow starts to come out, it could start to curl away. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic looks a little bit better than the other coins, like it wants to run for a little bit longer. Our money flow did make a bounce off the neutral zone, however, it looks like it wants to revisit that neutral zone. RSI is starting to point down, VWAP is starting to point down, and our momentum is starting to kind of curl off after trying to come up, so not too good here. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic has a bearish cross and is heading down. VWAP is curling off, momentum is curling off and tapering. Our VWAP is heading down. Money flow is trying to go bullish, but not really going anywhere, so not too good here. Algo, very weak gains today. Algo's been pretty beat down for quite some time now, though. RSI is trying to head up with a green dot that could confirm. Stochastic's trying to get a bullish cross. VWAP is very, very slightly bearish. Our money flow is trying to head up. Momentum did have a red dot that confirmed, but we could invalidate it if we do keep pushing forward. We do have that same hammer candle here. VWAP is heading up. Stochastic's trying to head up. RSI is trying to head up, but starting to curl. Money flow is in the bearish zone after trying to be bullish all day, so very similar to Anchor, I believe it was. Our momentum is coming up, but if we don't get that money flow to strongly go bullish, then that could start to taper off and we could see everything else start to give way. Over on the 2 hour, our momentum is kind of curling off. VWAP's starting to head down. Stochastic's about to get a bearish cross. Our RSI is kind of rounding off, so not too good here on the 2 hour, aside from the potential, like I said on graph, where we could get some sort of rounding. This could be like a shoulder head, and we could come down, make a shoulder. We'll have to see. Stochastic's starting to curl, RSI is starting to point down, our momentum's starting to curl and taper off. VWAP's starting to taper off and curl down and getting close to that neutral zone here on the 1 hour. And our money flow is just barely bullish, so it could get swiped down pretty easily. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.